Look at me, sure. I'm the captain.
Captain James! Howe!
Ahoy there. Welcome to Rated Aargh. Thank you for joining us on another adventure as we chart our course through the realms of cinematic piracy. Today, we made touch with a native sponge who lives in a pineapple under the sea as we watched the Spongebob movie, Search for Squarepants. My name is Ryan, and please join me in welcoming my co-captains, Christian and Braxton. Guys, Happy New Year. This was a fun one.
Oh.
Nice.
That's not in the movie, but it should have been.
It should have been.
But it is back there.
It should have been. Like, how hard would it have been for them to just start the movie that way? Like, for real.
They did the first movie like that. So
Yeah.
What day did we watch this?
December 30th. So, day before New Year's Eve. So, it's been, like, what, a week, I think, since we watched this? So.
Christian, did you forget everything about what you watched?
A little bit. Yeah. It's been a hectic last week.
Yeah.
It's been all day in a prison today, so I've forgotten some things.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow. Well, we're glad they let you out in time.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I would have thought I'd been in an asylum with you, but
Wow. Okay. Wow. He went there. Holy crap. Oh my gosh. Oh, this movie was a ton of fun, guys. I'm glad that we finally got to go watch a movie in theaters that had something to do with pirates.
that's true. This is probably the closest that we could see of going to see something in the past 3 years, I would say, of anything that's semi-close to piratey.
Yeah. I mean, we're almost at the end of our 2 years of the podcast, but like there really hasn't been much piratey that's come out in a while. Not to theaters anywhere. There might have been some stuff that could have been related, like a Shogun or something that Christian has talked about a lot.
True.
But that stuff didn't come to theaters. Like that's a series or something, you know, that was direct to streaming. This is something that actually like came to theaters. It almost didn't happen. They were gonna make this a like direct to streaming movie originally, and then decided, hey, like we reworked this and we're happy with it to go to theaters. So
Yeah, I'm glad they put it in theaters.
yeah, I am too. I think it's probably better just for the studios in general to put something in theaters, I would guess. Because, I mean, I would be interested to see the numbers on how many people will actually subscribe to a streaming platform specifically to watch something that comes out.
I feel like it's there. There's potential.
I know.
But I feel like the real.
How would
I
that
think
compare to the being released in theaters, though?
I know, but I think studios think that there's like a 40% chance that someone will subscribe to something in order to watch something specific. But I think the reality is like 10% of people will do that.
Yeah, or the people that would already have that streaming service.
Yeah.
So, like, for them to say, "Oh, we got a new subscriber because we released XYZ on said platform," like.
Yeah, I feel like 90% of stuff that the average person watches on streaming is, oh, look at that. And not, oh, the thing I'm looking for.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, which I mean,
the thing you're looking for is never on streaming anywhere.
Yeah, so I can attest to that because have you guys ever seen the movie Man on Fire with Denzel? So he becomes like a bodyguard.
And a Fanning, isn't it a Fanning?
Yeah, Dakota Fanning's in there as like a child, and he's supposed to like go in and be her bodyguard because her dad has some sort of. He's trying to work out like some deal to move a manufacturing hub for like automotive stuff to Mexico City or something like that, and so he's kind of like high profile, and they're worried because there's so many kidnappings going on that he's like his daughter's going to be kidnapped, and ultimately. She does, and like Denzel's character gets shot, and then the rest of the movie is
he gets lit on fire.
Yes, I think it's more he lights other people on fire, but yeah, but the rest of it is like him, trying to like lay waste to everyone and that was involved and track her down, and it's almost Taken without it like being directly like taken. Love the movie, but the only reason that I saw that was because it was number 2, I think, on the top 10 on Netflix this past weekend.
Right, you saw it and you're like, oh, look at that.
Yeah, I was like, oh, that
you
seems
didn't
intriguing.
purchase Netflix to
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if you went to watch SpongeBob Search for SquarePants and you're like home and watching this, when you get done, watch Man on Fire. It's very good. I highly recommend that one. I literally think that might be, which I've only seen, a handful of Denzel movies, but I would say that's probably my favorite that he's done so far. Like from a character perspective, Remember the Titans has a special place in my heart. But anyway, so let's get into SpongeBob The Search for SquarePants. So this was released in theaters on December 19th, 2025. So less than a month ago by the time this comes out.
The newest thing we've watched.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely the newest thing we've watched. It's directed by Derek Dryman, who I believe did previous SpongeBob, maybe episodes, or I think he's been around.
Yeah, he's been somehow been.
I think he's been around the
for a while.
SpongeBob universe for a while. And it stars the majority of the original SpongeBob cast, including Tom Kenny as SpongeBob, Clancy Brown as Mr. Krabs, Roger Bumpus as Squidward, and Bill Fagerbakke as Patrick Star. Probably just butchered his last name. But Mark
I've never known
Hamill
how to say
also stars as the Flying Dutchman, and this is the first time since 1999 that someone other than Brian Doyle Murray has portrayed the ghostly pirate. The Search for SquarePants is also the first feature-length SpongeBob movie to feature the Flying Dutchman. It had a budget of $64 million and has currently brought in $112.3 million as this movie is still in theaters. So pretty successful, I would say. I mean, it's made back its budget and then some. I think in terms of like a studio, you would call that a success. I think SpongeBob has enough of a following that they could continue to make movies, and we'll kind of discuss whether they should here shortly. But I think SpongeBob is loved enough by people that like they could continue to make movies until they've run it into the ground, which I would argue they're relatively close to doing so.
I would say that with the third one, wasn't that the Sandy one? I think with that they run it into the ground, and then with this one they've kind of redeemed themselves a little bit.
Well, so I think the Sandy one and the Plankton movie are not necessarily considered like SpongeBob movies. They're like side character movies in a sense. So I don't exactly know like how to classify those, but I think the formula for like making a movie about Sandy or Squidward or Plankton or any of the side characters, like if it doesn't feature SpongeBob, it seems to not have the draw that some of these others do. Speaking of this movie, is like fairly well received, I would say. It has an 81% critic score and a 69% audience score on Rotten Tomatoes. It has a 5.8 out of 10 on IMDb, and Letterboxd has it dead middle, 2.5 out of 5 currently. I mean, personally enjoyed the movie more than those ratings would reflect, but I can understand where people come from in terms of that. Because it is definitely similar, but also a departure from like the SpongeBob we grew up with. Yeah. So like it's pretty easy to see that, people would be like, oh, this isn't what I liked as a kid. And then, yeah.
This wasn't what I liked as a kid.
Well, okay then.
I just wanted to do the voice of the guy you just did, but I was pleasantly surprised. It made me laugh really hard several times,
almost uncontrollably.
Yeah. Does that bother you when I do that in the theater? Does that bother?
No. I thought it was funny, but there was one scene where like you laughed.
I think I was kicking my legs. I was kicking my knees.
It was like a child.
Girl.
Yeah.
Because it was making me laugh so hard. Yeah. I think like you say, I think it does reflect the interestingly, the worst parts of it, I thought, were the most modern SpongeBob parts of it. You know what I mean? That type of humor versus a more broad, the older style of humor. But yeah, it was, and I'll say this, it was very piratey.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
more than even I thought it was going in.
Yeah, it was. So, it was pretty.
It definitely fits
piratey.
for the podcast.
Yeah, for sure.
It's not an adjacent movie. It's a.
I am interested, though, looking at the box office numbers. Was it impacted by being released the same weekend as Avatar: Fire and Ash, The Housemaid, and David? Because this was number 4 in terms of box office for the opening weekend.
I bet it was, but I bet probably because of David. Parents taking their kids to see something. If there's two kids movies, you know,
yeah,
kind of cannibalize each other.
I feel like The Housemaid maybe not as much. That does
But
that I would say that probably appeals to people more our age though than kids. And I would say that this SpongeBob movie and most of SpongeBob still is not necessarily directed at us, even though we are the ones that like originally were the fans of SpongeBob, which I find interesting because, you know, a lot of like shows and franchises almost grow up with, you know, their intended audience, their original audience. And like SpongeBob has just maintained like, no, this is strictly for kids. Like to the point where are they potentially losing like fans because they refuse to like grow up the character or make the, you know, the show more like adult friendly. And I don't necessarily mean it has to be like adult only, but like family style. Because I would argue that the original episodes that we watched, you could watch as a family and like everyone get some laughs and enjoy.
Yeah.
Now, like it's hard to watch.
Dumb.
Yeah. Like the humor makes
like.
Yeah. Like I'm just waiting. When are they going to throw in a 6-7 meme or something, you know?
I was kind of worried there would be one in the movie. I know there probably wouldn't because, you know, when they made the movie, it was before all of it. But I was like, please don't have a 6-7 thing in the movie. And they didn't.
I mean, they could have made him, you know, 6 or 7 clams tall or, you know, something like that. So.
I had more immediately after watching it. Now that it's kind of settled a bit, I would say it's not nearly as memorable as the first movie, but it was still a good entry to the Sponge verse. The thing that was kind of jarring to me at the beginning was the change in animation style. It was just so strange, and I know that like the past movies changed the animation a bit. This was like a full-on change to, I don't even know how to describe it, but it was jarring at first. It took like 10 or 15 minutes into the movie to get used to. In the beginning, it felt very wrong, but eventually I settled in and I thoroughly enjoyed the movie. I thought it was pretty good. It was funny. I can tell that the writing style and the jokes have been watered down a bit and changed for a new generation. That's not necessarily bad. The SpongeBob of our day was a lot of jokes like aimed at our parents that we had no idea were really funny jokes.
We almost appreciate them now more than we did when we were a kid.
Watching SpongeBob. And it makes that like rewatch in college or as an adult that much funnier. But there wasn't a lot of that in this. It was a lot of just, I would say, silliness to the max, which was a good experience. It was a pretty good experience. Yeah.
It is definitely silly. And you know, speaking of the animation, so the company that did the animation for this is a company called Real FX Animation. They were the main animation provider, so I don't know if maybe there were some, you know, other companies involved or how exactly that all works out, but they were kind of the ones, you know, spearheading this. And the director, Dryman, wanted to avoid hyper-realism because I think maybe they kind of pushed that a little bit on some of the other stuff.
The second one really looked like weird hyper-real
stuff. He also kind of wanted to get away from stylized CGI meant to mimic 2D animation. So this movie, I think, is actually inspired by 60s plasticware and toys is kind of what he directed Real FX to use to create a style that he felt looked more handmade and kind of true to SpongeBob. And that extended to every aspect of the film's visuals, and it encouraged the team to dial back realistic textures that they felt could be distracting and too incongruent with SpongeBob's cartoony world. And I would say that they accomplished that really well. Like, it does sort of seem, you know, like a Toy Story version of SpongeBob in terms of like animation style, maybe.
Yeah. While watching it, I kind of thought like I liked it because to me, it almost looked like the 2000s like SpongeBob video games, like
Yeah.
Battle for Bikini Bottom and stuff, but like up-resed. It looked kind of like that, and that was pleasing. So I think that it definitely worked.
Mm-hmm.
If they had to go with a not 2D
I want to say, hold on, I have the title of this over here somewhere. I think Sponge Out of Water that came out in 2015 is one that comes on TV pretty frequently. Then you'll see it in like a car dealership if you go in to like get an oil change or something,
That's a
or
great
it's in
example.
the doctor's office, or
Yeah.
like on one of the TVs at like a store
I
or
remember
somewhere.
seeing the trailer for that, and
Like,
I was like,
Yeah, it just, I don't know. That one, it just does not look great. And so it's funny that, like it pops up in the most random places. Like this is the movie that they choose to show. Not necessarily that, they're choosing to, but like they chose to pick this channel with this movie on. It almost kind of reminded me of your Star Wars story, seeing it in Sears or something, where it's just like the most random places where you find this thing. But I mean, I think this animation style definitely fits SpongeBob better. I still think 2D animation in terms of SpongeBob is kind of the way to go. But I feel like and I don't even think I've watched like any of the other SpongeBob movies other than the first one. In like sat down and actually watched them. I've seen like bits and pieces maybe of some of the other ones, but I would say that this animation style, from the things that I've seen, looks significantly better than the like previous two, for instance, or maybe even other 3D animated SpongeBob stuff that they've done. Because the Plankton one I think was even kind of iffy on whether I liked it or not.
and I remember too. I don't remember exactly what, but I think both me and Christian said something about like the editing, or like the pacing of it.
Yeah, you did whenever we were walking out.
What did we say, Christian, exactly? I know I thought I was like, it feels different. Like it feels fast.
It was very fast. It was cut for a TikTok generation that needs.
I feel like that's kind of how a lot of the SpongeBob episodes are edited now. And
Like
not to say that like the old ones weren't. Like they were very fast paced. I mean, the episodes are 11 minutes long.
But there was times where like a joke was made, or at least I thought it was a joke, and like it cut and moved on so quick, like I couldn't like.
Like, was it a joke?
I didn't
was that
get like
intended
what.
To be funny?
Yeah, or like I knew it was, and I did not that I thought it wasn't funny, but I was like I didn't have time to process like what they said or what I was seeing before they moved on to the next thing.
Yeah, it was definitely, they hired some like cracked TikTok editors or something that they found to come and edit this movie. Yeah, I mean I didn't like hate the editing. I thought it was fun. I thought it was fast paced. It kept you interested. It wasn't like, oh, this kind of like lulled in the middle or anything. Like, I didn't really ever have that feeling. I do have some log lines if we want to take a look at some log lines. So the one that I have that I would normally pull off a streaming service, since this is still in theaters and not streaming, I pulled this one from Letterboxd for this month. And it says, desperate to be a big guy, SpongeBob sets out to prove his bravery to Mr. Krabs by following the Flying Dutchman, a mysterious swashbuckling ghost pirate, on a seafaring adventure that takes him to the deepest depths of the deep sea, where no sponge has gone before. The deepest depths of the deep sea.
You'll have to compare that to when it does come out on
when it does streaming. Come out on streaming.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think I saw maybe it was like on YouTube. They were all pretty similar. So I think everybody kind of has the gist of what the plot of this movie should be. Christian, do you have an alternate log line?
Yeah, I mean, it's very much like the first one, right?
Yeah.
Kind of. I thought
similar.
that the plot of it,
it's pretty similar.
Instead of being a man, it's about being a big guy, which is another word for a man, I would say.
Big guy. Big guy. Big guy.
It's very similar.
That Ice Spice song. Okay. I mean, I wrote one in my Letterboxd review if you'd like me to read it while you think.
Yeah, go for yours. Go for yours.
Okay, so I wrote this almost immediately after, or the next day after watching this. My alternate log line for this movie is, in pursuit of becoming a big guy, SpongeBob and Patrick set sail with the Flying Dutchman for SpongeBob to earn his swashbuckling certificate. What they don't know is the Flying Dutchman's evil scheme to lift his curse could be their doom, and it's up to Squidward, Mr. Krabs, and Gary to journey to the underworld and keep them from meeting their bitter fate.
I think the laughs in this one, they were good, but I don't think they hit the highs of the first one or as consistently funny throughout.
For sure.
There were 2 or 3 instances in this that were pretty funny, but I remember the first one having so many equally spaced jokes throughout, so many quotable jokes. And this one, I feel like it picks up like the first third, the first half, it's all right. There are a couple funny moments, and then final third, it gets a lot funnier.
Because it gets more absurd and stupid, which is always amazing. It just
gets more absurd and stupid. But I feel like in the original movie, it is like from the first moment.
Yeah,
you're laughing.
It's pretty great. Yeah. Do you think that the humor fits more with like the current generation of kids that would be watching SpongeBob? Because I almost think maybe. Like, I know we're almost, all almost 30, and maybe this makes us, old, or at least, the kids these days probably think that we're old. But, like, there's plenty of things, like, when you're around, like, teenagers now, they'll say something, they all crack up, and everyone looks around that's our age, and it's like, what is so funny? Like, I don't know. Like, I'm sure that's how, like, people our age felt when we were in high school or something, but I don't know. Like, there's just some kind of like the 6'7" deal, or just like whatever that kids go crazy for these days. Like, is this movie geared to them, and like maybe the jokes don't hit us because we don't really understand, or is it just a dumbed down humor that's not geared for people our age?
I think it's a mix of all those. I think this movie actually had about 1/3, 1/3, 1/3. I think 1/3 of it is like stupid and it was never funny and it never will be funny. And I think another third is new generation funny. And I think another third is much more broad classic stuff. And that's probably what we thought was the funniest.
Yeah.
I think it has a mix of all those in it, truthfully.
Okay. Christian, any thoughts?
I would agree with that. I would say maybe it's not the style of joke that was so different, but maybe the pacing of everything. It seriously felt like the shots and the scenes was just rushed. So, and it didn't take you out of it, but I mean, compared to the first one, it felt like they made it for very quick, like attention spans. I
can see that. Is there a joke that would compare in this movie to like, I don't know, like the scene in the bar where they're blowing bubbles, or like the deal where they pull up with the paddy wagon and those two guys, give them a hard time. They're like, "You won't last 5. We lasted 12," or whatever.
And got a family film.
And then like that. I mean, like there's a whole bunch of stuff that's just like really funny in the first one. Is there a moment like that in this one that stuck out?
Well, it's completely different types of humor. Like I think the first one had so many scenes that were just absurd, and on their own, like we quote those all the time. Literally on their own, those are such funny standalone scenes. This one, I feel like they got into a writer's room, and they're like, okay, we've gotten to this point. It's been 3 minutes since the audience has laughed. What do we do? And
have Patrick do something dumb.
They make Mr. Krabs' like RV explode for no reason.
Yeah.
I mean, that happens like 5 times.
Yeah. Yeah, it does.
But I really like Squidward's wig. I like the wig joke. How it ends up looking like, Ben Franklin.
Yeah.
I like all the live action stuff on the roller coaster. Obviously, is. I don't know why that got me so good, but it did.
Yeah. I don't even know that I wrote down what that roller coaster was called. So generally, like, if you have not seen the movie from here on out, we're going to go through some spoilers. Just a forewarning. I mean, you're welcome to listen to this. I don't know that we will spoil too much about the movie because it's made for children. Like, it's pretty straightforward there's not a whole lot that would be too
SpongeBob
surprising.
turns evil and.
Yeah, I mean that would be
It's a
more
bad
surprising
ending.
than what actually happens in the movie, I think. But essentially, the movie starts out where SpongeBob wants to ride a roller coaster called the Shipwreck, and it starts out where he is waking up every day apparently and getting Gary to measure him, because at the point where he is, how many was it, like 3 clams tall or 6 clams tall or something, he is now tall enough to ride the ride. And so he goes with Patrick, sees the ride after he gets through the gate, and freaks out because he's terrified. To which he says, "Oh, I told Mr. Krabs that I would ride it with him for the first time." And so SpongeBob and Mr. Krabs end up going, or him and Patrick go to the Krusty Krab, and Mr. Krabs basically calls him a wimp, I would say, and then tells him about all of his swashbuckling adventures that he had when he was young, which you find out in the end is not true at all. And he was just as big of a baby as SpongeBob was. But this then leads SpongeBob to want to prove himself to Mr. Krabs and earn his own swashbuckling certificate. And they sort of like haphazardly stumble upon this room like deep underneath the Krusty Krab when SpongeBob goes through this air vent that contains like all these, like piratey kind of artifacts and sailing artifacts and things, and he finds some kind of like a I don't know, it's almost like a clarinet. It's like some kind of musical,
it's called a hornpipe.
A hornpipe. He finds
which
a
is
mystical,
sort of a piratey instrument,
cursed hornpipe. And when he plays it or blows into it, it summons the Flying Dutchman, who realizes that they need a pure soul to go with them and
you know what?
complete
That's exactly
these
the same
trials.
plot of
What?
the Scooby-Doo live-action movie.
I think you're right, actually.
They want Scooby to be sacrificed because he has a pure soul.
sacrifice?
I will say the scary roller coaster gag in the very beginning is maybe like top 10 jokes ever in SpongeBob.
I agree.
Yeah.
Because just when you think
I thought
okay,
that was
they've done it,
hilarious.
they've done all the possible ones. There was 5 more instances of the craziness. Of
So anyway, he journeys with the Flying Dutchman through the underworld, and he has to complete these trials. And his way to get through the trials and actually successfully complete them is, what would Mr. Krabs do? And he literally turns into a Mr. Krabs shaped sponge and does whatever needs to be done. And essentially, in the end, when SpongeBob goes to play this hornpipe, it would free and break the Dutchman of his curse, which it does. But it also then passes the curse onto whoever is the person that, unlocked it or unlocked it for him, which ends up being SpongeBob and Mr. Krabs, because Mr. Krabs, I think, is kind of a weenie at the end, and so somehow he gets cursed. And then the movie closes with its final chapter where they have to journey and break the hornpipe, and the Dutchman, who is Mark Hamill in real life this time,
in really great prosthetics,
in great
with
prosthetics,
the nose
looks awesome.
that goes out to here.
Hilariously long nose. Go on this. He hops on a roller coaster thinking that SpongeBob is too scared to go on, and they essentially journey to the moon, literally so far out of the atmosphere you can see astronauts.
Go to space.
Yeah, it's
just
hilarious.
like Fast 9. They go
absolutely
to space.
hilarious. They knock the thing away, lift the curse, yada yada yada. That's basically the entire movie in a nutshell. So I wrote down a few things. And most of these were all towards the beginning. But there is a Captain Bootybeard's Fun Park that they go to,
That's
which
the
is
theme park, yeah.
which is the theme park where this roller coaster
go.
called the Shipwreck is. And then I wrote down Mr. Krabs has a swashbuckler certificate, because I was like, oh, that's cool. I'll have to remember that. And then it ends up being the focal point of the rest of the movie. So
yeah,
I wrote
didn't
it
think
down,
it would
and then I
come
was like,
back
well,
either.
I
I
don't
thought it was a
really-
one-off gag.
Yeah. And then I was like, well, I don't actually really need to, that's going to be pretty easy to remember, because that's what the entire rest of the movie is dedicated towards. So
I do also, I liked for some reason, and maybe, I don't know, I like that once SpongeBob got on the roller coaster, he liked it. He was scared at first, but then he kind of liked it. I mean, that's a very simple thing, but I feel like that's a good thing to put in a kids movie, not to promote kids ride roller coasters because it's not the point. But the point is, you should try new things even if you are scared of them. You might actually like it, that kind of thing.
Yeah, all you need to do is get your swashbuckling certificate and become a
Right.
big guy, and then you can ride the roller coaster. Yeah, that was the whole point of the movie, right?
Yes.
So I do have a couple like fun facts here as well, and I have a couple things. I have a couple things that we probably need to talk about. So I think I mentioned this earlier, but this is the first feature length movie to feature the Flying Dutchman. Then the theatrical version was preceded by a short that is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Chrome Alone 2 Lost in New Jersey. What did you guys think about that? So I've seen the latest Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie. I don't think either of you have. What did y'all think about the animation style for it? Because it was drastically different than SpongeBob, but still very unique.
Yeah, I liked it a lot. I actually like it, and I don't know. There's something about the way that it's animated. I liked the way that the frame rate stuff looked with it more than some of the other new animation stuff that does it with the frame rate. I thought it was really cool.
It's really cool. It looks
what
like
was the one that was in front
markers.
of Paws of Fury? That made no sense.
Oh, Big Nate, I think was what it was called.
And it's like, isn't it like picture cutout animation of like a gerbil or something?
Yeah, hamster.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It wasn't as strange as Big Nate, but it was definitely.
I'll tell you
better.
what, that's one of the most memorable things that I've ever seen in a movie theater.
You know what that moment felt like? It felt nearly the same as when we thought that the mosquito landing on the dinosaur was the beginning of Fast 9. Second time it's mentioned on this podcast. I didn't mean to do that.
Yeah.
It felt like that because we're like, is everyone seeing what we're seeing right now? Are we like high? This is like, what is going on?
I will say, I have not really thought a whole lot about the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle movie other than I've told you that you need to watch it because the animation style is really cool in it until this. And it made me really excited about another Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle movie.
Right, yeah.
Like, I would totally go and watch another one. It was actually, like, a lot of fun. So, yeah, that was cool. I like little shorts in front of movies. I think they should do that more. I think that should be a thing.
Looney Tunes.
So, in addition to voicing and sort of playing the Flying Dutchman in this, Mark Hamill actually previously guest starred in a SpongeBob SquarePants episode called Nightlight.
Didn't know that.
Yeah, I didn't either.
He also had a little-known role in a film series called Star Wars.
How
many people know?
I don't know. That was a new revelation to me too. Had never heard of that one. And then the scene where they actually Mr. Krabs and Squidward and Gary find their way to the underworld is actually pretty interesting. Because you see it in the trailer if you go watch a trailer for this and you haven't seen it. The three of them in this like Winnebago boatmobile kind of deal pull up to the Bikini Bottom High and then subsequently drive the Winnebago down the halls of the high school and into the locker room.
Yep. Because they're looking for Davy Jones' locker.
How on earth did a Winnebago get driven into the school and go through a locker?
That's your problem with the logic of this movie.
I said something about it in the theater while we were watching it. I'm like, how the frick did they get that into the school?
How did the Flying Dutchman's beard go around his head while he stayed in place? Or, no, wait. Why does his beard stay in place while his body went around in a circle? I don't know.
I guess you're right.
Also, the character building when we found out that Squidward's gym teacher said he still owed him laps.
That was so funny.
That was pretty great. It was pretty great. Yeah. What was his name? The gym teacher?
Coach... Some sort of fish pun.
It was something. So which I think we probably either were not paying attention or missed this, but Stephen H. is a name on one of the lockers in the high school locker room, which is a reference to the late creator of SpongeBob, Steven Hillenburg. So I thought that was pretty neat.
Nice.
And then here's a big talking point that we're going to have to discuss, because Nickelodeon, this is on IMDb, so take that with a grain of salt, I guess. But it says Nickelodeon movies and Paramount's first theatrically released animated quadriquel. So
That's
apparently
not a
they've never
thing.
released a fourth movie in a series until this.
So you're saying they had self-respect before this?
Well, I'm curious as to know, do you guys think that this is part of a quadriquel? And I'll tell you what the three other movies are. And we can discuss this, because it made me mad when I read this earlier. Because the other three movies are the 2004 SpongeBob SquarePants movie, which is near and dear to our hearts. The SpongeBob movie Sponge Out of Water in 2015, and the SpongeBob movie Sponge on the Run from 2020. Now, I've never seen like two of those. But doesn't a quadrilogy, wouldn't they normally have something to do with each other plot-wise? Like,
In my
shouldn't
opinion,
a
yes.
sequel take place after the first movie, and then the third one then follows the events of that, and this would have then followed the events of that?
Yeah. The problem is the SpongeBob movies are just like the show, where there's no timeline consistency.
I agree. I would not call that a trilogy. I would not even have called it a sequel at the time of the second one, if it was not related to the first.
I would call it a franchise or a series,
Franchise
possibly.
or a series, yeah.
But yeah, I agree with that. I don't think. I think using trilogy and sequel is not correct.
Because what on earth did this have to do with any of the other movies?
Nothing.
Like, legitimately, this is a standalone movie. And I think I said something about this in terms of the timeline of SpongeBob. This is like season 1? Because when does he meet the Flying Dutchman? Because he had never met the Flying Dutchman before.
In the show, he meets the Flying Dutchman on the Halloween episode, I believe, the first one.
Is it the first season? Because the time he meets him is Shanghai, isn't it?
No, he meets him in the Halloween episode, I think.
No, it says first proper encounter with the Flying Dutchman happens in Shanghai, where he and Patrick and Squidward get trapped on his ship because an anchor lands and goes into Squidward's house, and they climb up the rope of it.
Okay, here's the order on the SpongeBob wiki.
Okay, go for it.
At the end of he's in a magazine picture in like an older episode, but in season 1 he's in the Scaredy Pants episode, the Halloween one, where he pops up at the very, very end
in season
the Krusty
1.
Krab. But he doesn't really do much of anything.
Okay, Shanghai just says it's season 2, episode 13A.
Yeah. And then he shows up briefly at the end of Aargh, which is, we're going to have to watch that for the podcast. That's the one where they follow the treasure map.
Yeah.
And then he shows
it's based
up
on a real treasure map.
in Shoes Untied, where he only shows up for the joke of where he wears the little sock because he has no shoe.
The monkey fist. The monkey. Woo-hoo.
And then he shows up in Shanghai, which is sort of the most full, true appearance.
Yeah.
That basically
that
they
makes
modeled this
sense.
movie on, right? That shows the glowing ship and all the, which again, this movie really is like a full-length version of the Shanghai episode.
Yeah.
Which I think overall
I would
the
argue
Shanghai
you
episode
maybe
is
even
funnier
learn-
than this movie.
I would argue maybe even learn more about the Dutchman in this movie.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's the most,
Yeah.
fully fleshed out he's been.
Yeah. This is also sort of a follow-up to my previous point about the quadriquel. But it says this is the 7th theatrically released 4th installment to an animated film franchise of all time, including Shrek Forever After, Ice Age Continental Drift, Toy Story 4, Hotel Transylvania 4, Transformania, Kung Fu Panda 4, and Despicable Me 4.
that has to be the most god awful trash list I've ever heard.
I like Continental Drift. I think we're gonna watch that on the show because that's the one with the pirates.
But I guess what I mean is, I'm not saying any of them in particular are horrible. Some of them are, but not all of them. But when you compare all of those movies to the first 3 in those series, the drop in quality is all about like that.
Yeah.
Like, that's crazy. That's that consistent with the 4th movie thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, isn't that interesting?
Continental Drift is the one with the granny sloth.
You always talk about the granny sloth.
Well, she has a little dance on the bonus features.
We do need to watch that for the
Walk
podcast.
it out like granny. To the left. And anyway. All right, Christian, how historically accurate is this movie?
Not very, but it was historically fun.
It's true.
I would
Pirates
say
like
this
roller
one-
coasters.
It did a really good job at capturing just like the fun and the absurdity of what movies have turned like pirate lore and pirate history into.
Do you have any information on the Flying Dutchman?
The Flying Dutchman it actually has several different versions, but it's maybe the most common like ghost ship story. The oldest known version of the legend of the Flying Dutchman is from the late 1700s, and it talks about the ship being sighted, even though it had sunk. It is one of the myths and ghost stories that may have originated out of the 17th century golden age of piracy during the prominence of the Dutch East India Company. I believe it is Spongebob that links it to Davy Jones. I think
I think that's what we figured out during the Dead Man's Chest episode.
Yeah, Davy Jones was its own, like... Yeah, that was another branch of folklore. Which is just this mythical sailor, possibly real, or possibly supposed to be based on a real person, but it was just kind of one of those names that you would mention. I don't have any other modern examples of what that is. I think it was just like a random name, random sailor that they would mention. But the Flying Dutchman is supposedly based off of a 17th century Dutch cargo ship. And the side of it means that you are destined for doom or destined for death. But it is not based on any specific ship. It is just kind of loose folklore based on when the Dutch ruled the seas.
Now, my question is, why do you think that SpongeBob settled on the Flying Dutchman? Like, they could have, they could have played off of any pirate. Like, they could have had a Blackbeard or a Redbeard, or they could have, had a bearded pirate or something like that and been like, oh, yes, I was lost at sea and blah, 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 blah. They settled on the Flying Dutchman. Like, do you think there's a reason why that they landed on that specifically?
No, this probably isn't true, but here's my headcanon of why. I think they wanted to make the joke about it being Davy Jones' locker and the socks being in there. And they were like, well, we can't call our guy Davy Jones, so we'll call him the Flying Dutchman.
Yeah. Plus, it's also, you can make a joke out of the name because he is a ghost and he's floating.
Right.
Mm-hmm. That's
so
kind of what I wondered. I also wondered if it had anything to do with like him and his ship actually flying around. They're just near the top of the water or whatever. But
yeah. According to Spongepedia, the ship is unnamed.
Okay. Something else though, talking of like a regular pirate, you see it in the animation, but you don't really notice it or clock it. But whenever Mark Hamill, becomes the live action version of him, he clearly has the Edward Teach braided. I don't even know what you call them. The things that stick out where he's braided his hair.
mm-hmm.
That's straight from Blackbeard.
So he's kind of just like a hodgepodge of...
Yeah, right. Which we've seen before, right?
Different
Where they take little things from here and there and combine it together. I do like, and they did a good job in the movie as well. I was always really satisfied as a kid that the idea of the ghost pirate is just sort of like green looking and has like a glow around him. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that's what a ghost pirate should look like.
Mm-hmm. I also thought it was interesting in this that as a ghost, he like can't really pick up much of anything, but SpongeBob hands him bubbles at one point, and like that's perfectly fine. And then when SpongeBob and Mr. Krabs turn into ghosts, like they can also hold bubbles. So like, what is the significance of bubbles?
Yeah,
and why?
I also really like the
can
way
you hold
that
a bottle of
Mr.
bubbles
Krabs looked when they were.
Oh, with his
Dutchman.
beard and stuff.
Yes.
Yeah, it's pretty great.
They had the beard, the braid thing, and then their legs were a little ghost thing.
Yeah. Oh, there were sirens. I know we'll talk about that on the bingo as well. But when Mr. Krabs and Squidward and Gary go into the underworld, Squidward is mesmerized by the sirens.
Yes.
But they bring him up on stage.
He plays his clarinet.
And he starts playing clarinet badly. Which then they basically kick him out and like go after them.
Something else instrument related, which is also history related, is the thing they're looking for, the hornpipe. Mm-hmm. So, are y'all familiar with what that is or no?
I mean, not exactly.
I mean, obviously they showed it in the movie.
Yeah.
But the only thing I know about it is because I don't do it a lot, but I have there's a good playlist you can find on YouTube of where people have compiled all the production music from SpongeBob, all the licensed music tracks that they used in SpongeBob over and over again. Mm-hmm. A famous one, the Krusty Krab theme, some people would call it, is called the Rake Hornpipe. Rake as in the wild and crazy song played on the hornpipe. And a hornpipe is, I didn't know this before, but I looked it up, is basically 16th, 17th century instrument from, the British Isles that, just like other things that we've seen before, right, was used commonly on Royal Navy ships. They would play that along with other instruments and people would do jigs and dances to them. But I don't know. I thought it's a cool choice to have that be the, mythical device rather than something more basic. I think it does kind of show that they were trying to, do a little bit of their homework, even if it's only a little bit, for the fourth SpongeBob animated movie. There is actually a little bit of piratiness in the use of the hornpipe.
Yeah, that's cool. Mr. Krabs has a dungeon basement kind of thing that's full of all kinds of piratey artifacts. Is he just a pirate enthusiast, or am I remembering a false something, or was he the pure soul that the Dutchman chose last time that failed and he ran? Was that talked about in the movie? For some reason that is in my head.
I think that upon a rewatch, I think you're meant to realize that he is just a collector and an enthusiast of that stuff, and not a participant, because that's what's revealed.
And he just found that hornpipe. He didn't steal it from the Flying Dutchman like he claimed he did. Because I was under the impression that at some point in trying to break the curse, because he said that they've tried several and it failed. I wondered if Mr. Krabs made it there and then fled because he was terrified of.
But he kept the pipe.
Yeah.
That might actually make the most sense, right?
I mean, I could be wrong, but for some reason that was in my head today.
Because how else?
Wait, Mr. Krabs was the pure soul before.
Probably.
I think a bubble blowing baby. They didn't exactly say those words, I don't think, because that's what they refer to it as in the first movie. And I was come on. I was like, come on. Just, use your own, you use some past material here. Bubble blowing baby.
Go back to the well.
Yeah. He's a goofy goober. Yeah, we get it.
That is something that has never come back again, is the goofy goober thing.
Yeah. That is one thing that's nice about the first movie, too. I'm a goofy goober.
Oh, my God. You know what I just realized?
What?
This is gonna be a long walk. Not really, but okay. He's called a goofy goober, and he's a peanut.
Yeah.
Peanuts were originally called goober peas, so that's why he's a goofy goober. Yeah. And peanuts were called goober peas because it's like a messing up version of the West African name for a peanut, which is where peanuts come from, is like a goor or something, and they would call them goobers, and then they called them peas because they knew there were legumes also, so they were called goober peas. Probably even in like the 1800s, and then we started calling them peanuts.
Why on earth do you know that?
because there's a song.
I'm a goofy goober.
No,
yeah. You're a goofy goober. Yeah.
Okay, here's the backstory of it that no one really wants to know. For a Christmas gift for my dad, I have several cassettes, like old tape cassettes from him. And one of them was from like 1975, a cassette that he recorded when he was like 7 or 8 years old of like songs on the radio and just him yelling at the tape recorder and stuff. Yeah. The stuff you do when you're 7. Mm-hmm. And one of the songs was a children's song called Goober Peas. Goofy goober. And I was like, what the hell is a goober pea? So I Googled it and found that out.
Interesting. That is so random.
It is. That's my life.
Wow. That's hilarious. All right, Braxton, you want to go through some pirate bingo for us?
Yes. So this had several, and I'm going to say, just at a glance, it seems similar. I don't have the exact count, but it seems similar to the amount of what we had in At World's End and Pirates Band of Misfits, which were some of the higher ones.
Do you have nudity in there? Because apparently Derek Dryman, the director, claimed that this movie features nudity. I would guess because Patrick has to put on pants.
Well, there's a part where Patrick is basically wearing like
a shirt.
Thong.
Well, he uses an eye patch as basically like a loincloth for a while.
Which is really funny.
And they're like, put on some pants. And so he like can't really put on the pants. Mm-hmm. Which I would guess is why that would be classified as nudity. But yeah, apparently he claimed that this movie featured nudity. An animated SpongeBob movie. But you could argue the intestine scene.
Well, yeah, but aren't there like a million SpongeBob episodes where SpongeBob is naked because he's just a sponge?
Good grief, he's naked.
There's tons of where he's just naked.
Good grief, he's naked. Yeah.
Good grief, he's naked.
Yeah.
Okay.
Plus, like, Squidward never wears pants, so.
No. He's Winnie the Poohing it.
Yeah. Okay, can we talk about, before we get to Pirate Bingo, like, too deep, can we talk about the intestines scene?
I mean, it's sort of funny, but it's not as funny as I think they wanted it to be. But it is absurd. And you know what I find funnier than them like doing the weird stuff with the intestine? When it cut back to the Dutchman, just like they can't believe what they're watching. Like that's pretty good.
Yeah, that was pretty good. Yeah, they have a scene where they like fall off a cliff into some sort of like, I don't know, like seaweed or something. That's like blue and pink and purple. And they think it's their intestines, and they like whack each other with it, and it looks like inappropriate. Like I would say that was probably the most adult joke in the whole show. Was them like slapping each other with these intestine seaweed kind of things that literally looks like genitalia.
Yes, that's the thing, right?
Yeah. I was like, wow. Okay, and it's in the trailer. Like, you can see this in the trailer. Because I was like, holy crap, dude. This is going to be freaking crazy. And it was. It was crazy. It was pretty crazy. Bingo.
All right. There's a yo-ho or a land-ho. There's a peg leg, a treasure chest. They say...
There was a peg leg?
Hmm?
Where was a peg leg at?
One of the Dutchman's crew
has
one. No, I think Barb has one, doesn't she?
Maybe. I don't know.
One of the Dutchman's crew.
Barb.
Avast, aye, or ahoy.
Mm-hmm.
There's sword fight. There's cannon fire. They say Aargh. There's an 18th century ship. There's a curse. There's a Jolly Roger. There's a parrot on the shoulder, which is a clam that pops up and walks Squidward. I'd say there's a mention of pirate code because they pull out the book, which is sort of the Dutchman's rules. There's a mutiny. I'd say that the Dutchman sort of has a version of a West Country accent, even though it's not, that strong.
Yeah.
There's a tricorn hat. There's a pirate girl. There is a giant cavalier hat. There's an eye patch. They do say the word booty because that's in the theme park name. There's a map. There is a Captain Blankbeard. That's also the theme park name.
Booty beard. There's also like a hamburger beard, burger beard, or something like that.
There's a cutlass between the teeth. There's a hook hand. They do say the word pirate. There's an unnecessarily shirtless guy on the crew, which I think is Patrick, I believe.
Probably.
They do swing and sort of fly around in the rigging of the ship.
Yeah.
There are sirens. There's a Captain Crunch hat, because that's the one that SpongeBob wears. And I think we said there is a fight on a beach, which we counted as the roller coaster. We said that qualified.
I mean, they also sort of fight on the beach, but not
they do
exactly.
So yeah. So that put, like I said, that's like 29, I think, or 30 total.
Are we counting sea monsters? Is that on there?
A kraken.
See, yeah.
You know.
I just wonder, should we put kraken or sea monster, or just leave it as kraken?
We could put kraken or sea monster. That would widen the net.
Well, I'm just thinking, like, how many ones have we done?
There's been not that many, but there has been probably 2 or 3 where we could have put in a sea monster that wasn't a kraken-like creature,
But their version of a kraken has been SpongeBob.
SpongeBobified, I guess.
SpongeBobified, yeah.
Yeah, I just was curious because I mean, I'm not saying we necessarily have to, but there are like a bunch of like sea monsters.
Yeah, there's several.
In
I'm good with that. Kraken or sea monster. It's marked there now.
I felt like there was so much in the room before he blows the hornpipe.
Well, I know we would have to. I thought about that too. We would have to like literally freeze frame on that.
Watch
scene.
it again and like just hit pause and try to
to look
figure
at all
out
the
like
stuff
how
in
many
there.
things it crosses off. Yeah, because I mean, that's one thing about the animated movies is you can make whatever the heck you want.
Yeah.
And so if you're like, oh, we're gonna make everything party that we can, like
Yeah.
you legitimately can, and you can put most of it in like one scene.
Yes.
So, is there an eye patch on the bingo?
I believe I marked it. Yes.
Okay. I don't know. I was just trying to like go through and think because there was, I mean, dude, it was dense. Like there was a lot of stuff in this one.
The only thing that this doesn't have is a lot of the violent stuff. You know what I mean? There's
Like
a few phrases that's not
mutiny
there.
and
There's
some of
no
that
pirate
stuff,
will be
or-
executed.
Yeah, no gibbets.
Does that make sense?
Nothing
You know,
like that. Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
there's
it is
no
a
attacking,
kids-
no pillaging.
It is a kids movie,
So that's kind of the only ones it doesn't have.
yeah,
But yeah,
pretty solid.
Pretty good for
How many
Pirate
was that
Bingo.
total?
I think probably 30.
30. Wow, that's impressive because we've had
That's in the
several
top
of the
10.
ones
I
we've
bet
done
you.
lately have been like 6
Yeah.
or less. So, yeah, I mean, I thought from watching the trailer and looking at the poster that it would be pretty piratey, and I think it was probably more piratey than we anticipated.
I agree.
So, pretty good. All right, you guys ready to get into some ratings?
Yes.
Okay, let's take a look at it. So our rating scale, for those that are unfamiliar, is called the Pieces of 8. We rate the movie on a general scale of 0 to 8 and a piratiness score of 0 to 8. Braxton, do you have yours ready?
Yes, I do, actually.
Let's go. I'll let you
But I
start.
don't want to go first. I'm just kidding.
I'll let you start.
for the piratiness, I would give it. I would give it a 6 out of 8.
Good man.
And I think overall, 6.5 out of 8.
Wait, did we mark a curse on the pirate bingo?
Yes.
Okay. I was just making sure. That just came to me.
You're my.
Yeah.
You
So you said 6 out of 8 on piratiness and a 6.5 out of 8 on general. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Sweet. Solid score. Christian, you want to go next?
I would also give it a 6 out of 8 on piratiness. It checked all the boxes for what we have turned pirate movies into, and it pulled out all the fun parts, the adventure and the jokes and the just things we've invented that now if we're going to make a pirate movie that it has to be in. I feel like they included all of it. The overall rating, I will also give it a 6. It was thoroughly enjoyable. I will admit that I maybe wanted more, but I don't know if that was even attainable.
Right.
I think it's hard to compare this to the original movie with that much time in between them and from the SpongeBob that we were used to. But, I mean, they did a good job of capturing the essence of SpongeBob and capturing the fun that it was growing up watching. So it was enjoyable.
Heck yeah. Yeah. So I agree with you guys on piratiness. I'm going to give this a 6 out of 8. And then general, I think I agree with Braxton, 6.5 out of 8. I could have maybe pushed this up to a 7. I think 6.5.
Yeah, I was going to do that. Then I was like, it's not that good. I thought about other things I've given a 7, and I was like, it's not on that level. You know?
Yeah. No, I mean, dude, I really, really enjoyed this movie. It was about what I was expecting, honestly, from a SpongeBob movie that's made today. I think it is lacking some things that really, like categorize SpongeBob and what makes SpongeBob so great in terms of like our consideration for how we perceive SpongeBob. But a lot of it was there. Like it was funny. There were some scenes that were like literally hilarious. There was some stuff that like was kind of odd. I think Mark Hamill as the Flying Dutchman with his long nose was enough to, at least elicit a couple points on a general score. Just hilarious. Like the fact that guy has been in like literally one of the biggest movie franchises of all time and now chooses to dress up as the Flying Dutchman with a gigantic, comically long and pointy nose.
You know how fun it would be to wear that like prosthetic and get that.
I'm sure it'd be so much fun, man. But it's just interesting, like seeing the career choices that he's taken. Mm-hmm. Because he could literally never be in anything else ever again and be perfectly set, like money wise, and his legacy is protected. But this guy just wants to do.
Well, it's interesting too
stuff.
that for like 15 years he wasn't in anything, but he was a voice actor. Mm-hmm. Just exclusively a voice actor. So it's kind of cool to me that in this movie he got to be a voice actor, which he's very good at. But then he also basically got to cameo as the same character in live
Had he
action.
really been in much of anything before the new Star Wars movie that they brought him back for? Or did that kind of kickstart him being on screen again?
It did, yeah. Mm-hmm. He never stopped working. He did voice work in tons and tons of stuff. That's basically what his job became.
Yeah.
But you're right. It wasn't until the new Star Wars that he started appearing again.
Well, you can at least give the new Star Wars movies that, if nothing else. So
true. Yeah.
I know you're not a big fan of them. So
Mark Hamill was great in them. He showed his stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. He was good in this too. I enjoyed it. Mm-hmm. I don't know that we should make more SpongeBob movies, though. I will say that.
That's your conclusion?
Yeah, do you guys agree?
I agree.
The way I feel about SpongeBob is I'm glad that it became a cultural touchstone and that it's so well known and that, you know what I'm saying? And that it is cool that they're still making it in movies and the TV show. But ultimately, I think it would have been better for the way SpongeBob is remembered if it would have ended after the 2004 movie. And I still think it would have been a cultural touchstone. I think that its legacy is more tarnished from everything they've made since 2004.
I mean, I agree.
Not to say that they've ruined it, and they haven't, and it's fine. But I think that with everything they continue to make, the like respect and quality of SpongeBob is just doing this.
Yeah.
But Paramount's making money, so they're going to keep making them. You know what I mean?
No, I mean, yeah, I understand.
And it's never so bad to shut down the whole thing. It's always like this movie, you go and see it and you're like, oh, that was fine.
Yeah.
But it's not great.
Well, and I just wonder, like, I mean, you know, in like 20 years when we're like married and have kids, is SpongeBob still going to be being made?
That's so weird. Yeah, it's strange.
Like, it's been around. I mean, you're talking 1999. This is 27. This is the 27th year of SpongeBob.
Like, that's crazy. It's crazy because I think about it in my mind as if it's not still being made because I'm never going to watch it.
I'm never going to watch the new stuff because it is odd.
But that's so weird. It's like, to me, it's not over.
Yeah.
But in every sense of the word, in my mind, it is.
Well, and like I would.
So it's weird.
Aren't are all of the seasons in terms of what we would consider like SpongeBob canon? Like these are the episodes we would watch. Are there even some before the first movie that classify in like, no, that doesn't really count because they had already started doing stuff. It's just up to the first movie, and then everything after that's like,
Like season 4 has some good stuff in it that we still would probably remember as a classic episode.
Yeah.
But by the time they get to 5, it had kind of gone off the rails because Steven Hillenburg, the original creator, left after season 3 in the movie because he was like, "That's all I wanted to say with SpongeBob." Rest in peace.
And yet they have kept this baby alive for 22 more years because that movie was.
You know what I want to? I thought of this the other day. You know what I want to add up here to this wall? Have y'all ever seen? And you can put the image up if you find it. But I always remember it was on the DVD. Huh?
A gravestone of Steven Hillenburg.
No, no. But there's a live action image of Steven Hillenburg like underwater in like animated SpongeBob world, holding SpongeBob like he's a little puppet.
Oh, that'd be cool.
And his hair is funny. I always remember they would always have that image in like, you know, like the making of stuff.
Yeah.
I want to put that in like a picture frame.
I miss Patchy the Pirate, man.
Yeah, where's Patchy's cameo?
Yeah. Dang. But yeah, no, I mean, I think if they want to continue making episodes and movies, I think eventually you could have one more movie and call it quits. Put everything in a nice little bow, wrap up the whole deal. It is the end of SpongeBob, and just let it be what it is.
Yeah.
And like you could still use SpongeBob as a character to do all your like Nickelodeon, you know, like broadcasts of NFL games and whatever else you want to use him for. But like, just stop making new stuff. Like it's time, man. Like, let it rest.
Find something new and interesting.
I think that's the problem is they don't have anything new and interesting.
Like, part of it is that kind of since COVID, and especially since the strikes, a lot of the networks and distributors are so scared to take risks with new IP. Yeah. And so there are a lot of people in positions of power and the kind of gatekeepers now to getting these projects greenlit. They will not greenlight anything unless there is a big name attached or it is existing IP, which is why there are so few original movies right now. And if there are, it's a miracle that it got made. I mean, Sinners, they were trying to apparently push that to known IP. I don't know if you guys knew that.
Yeah. I knew they were trying to meddle with it. I didn't know that specifically.
Yeah.
What known IP would they have used?
Apparently, they were trying to. They were in talks to trying to. I know there was an existing script, but there was talks to where they had tried to rebrand it as a
Blade
movie.
Oh, really?
And is that Marvel or DC?
Marvel.
Yeah. Okay. So
But it's
apparently
Fox Marvel.
they were
X-Men
trying to get that script to Marvel IP and make it as a Blade movie, but it stayed fully independent.
Yeah.
But it's hard to get anything, TV, movie, anything done right now unless you have already proven that you can sell.
Yeah.
And that's why we have the exact same actors and everything. There are very few people come up in a starring role that have not been seen before. The kind of opinion is that, like, unless whether you're an actor, actress, series, or show, like, if you have not made it yet, the ladder has been pulled up, at least for the time being.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that it might be the same with shows and franchises for a while, where they say, well, it might not blow people away, it might not be the next big phenomenon, but we've shown that it can still sell out a theater.
Yeah.
I think this would have been a more
change.
fun theater watch if it was sold out, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
I think people would have gone nuts during the roller coaster scenes.
Yeah.
Like you. Keeping your feet up.
I loved it. I loved it.
Yeah. Dang. All right. Should this movie be inducted into the rated Aargh Pirate Cinematic Universe? I've been forgetting. I think I forgot 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, but I think we had kind of just decided on no for that movie. So
Yeah, we've done a lot of the adjacent ones recently.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
I feel like my first instinct is yes, but then I'm like, nah.
See, I was kind of thinking no, but I almost think maybe in terms of
Only because it's the most recent thing that actually is pirate related. That you know what I mean?
well, that wasn't even necessarily. I just I mean, if we were gonna just induct one thing in, I think it would be the Flying Dutchman. But I just feel like the Flying Dutchman has been such a big part.
He was already in the show, right? Is that what you mean?
Well, but I just mean him being in the show and stuff has been such a big part of, I guess people our age or around our age, having somewhat of an interest in pirates. That and the Pirates of the Caribbean movies. I almost feel like this movie, because it is so heavily the Flying Dutchman, this is the first one that, features the Flying Dutchman. I almost think we should. I could be persuaded one way or another, though.
I would feel more comfortable not inducting him because it felt so different than his character in the show. I feel like there's a different continuation.
Yeah.
Okay.
It feels like two different things.
We're gonna watch the
good.
SpongeBob episodes then at some point, and those should make it in. Is what you're saying?
I agree.
I would say so. I would say not this performance of him, but the originals maybe.
Okay. Sorry,
it
Mark
feels
Hamill.
like two different characters, and it might be because it's a different person playing it.
I think that probably plays a little bit of it. I think it also has something to do with just
the writing was different, right? He doesn't behave exactly.
Now the roller coaster should be inducted.
The shipwreck at Pirate or at Booty Beard's theme park should be actually turned into a real roller coaster.
Captain Booty Beard's Fun Park. Oh God, that's funny.
That could be the only theme park ride in the obviously, except for the Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yeah. Okay. Well, so we're gonna say no then on this movie.
Yeah, it's a no-go.
SpongeBob Search for Squarepants.
Also, it's a stupid title. It should have had something with the Flying Dutchman in the title.
I mean, I agree. I agree.
I thought it was going to be that literally, like when I saw the title.
So I would say that it's a misleading title because
I thought that
it's
meant
not
that he lost
even,
his pants.
It's not even.
And he has to find them.
Okay, that's not why I ever thought that this was going to be.
I kind of thought that when I first saw the title.
I also thought that.
But I would argue that it's not a search for him.
No.
Like Mr. Krabs and
They'd find
Squidward,
him right
like
where he
on
is.
this journey, like it's not even about them. It's about SpongeBob's journey to become a big guy and conquer these trials at the end. I mean, like legitimately, you spend what 75 to 80% of the movie with SpongeBob.
He's not anywhere.
It's
He's
not
right
even
there.
about the search. Like you could have cut Mr. Krabs and Squidward and Gary out of this entirely, and it would still work. I feel like.
Yeah.
Am I wrong in thinking
No.
that?
You're
No,
absolutely right.
I did not feel connected to Mr. Krabs or Squidward at any time during their chase.
Yeah.
It was just used for.
You know what they should have called it?
What, Braxton?
Well, there was a video game called Revenge of the Flying Dutchman, but I think this should have been called SpongeBob SquarePants: Curse of the Flying Dutchman.
Could have been. Yeah. You mean you wouldn't call it SpongeBob movie The Big Guy?
SpongeBob 4.0. Or even better, SpongeBob, but then they pick one of the random letters and turn it into the number 4. Like M3 gun.
Which one would you turn into 4?
I don't know, but they always pick a stupid one.
Okay. An E? I don't know. Sponge for Bob.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah. No, that would be Sponge for Bob.
Anyway. All right. Well, SpongeBob Search for SquarePants denied from the Hall of Fame. It's almost time for us to take this ship to port, but before we do, we wanted to make sure you found our proverbial message in a bottle detailing next month's movie of choice. So coming February 10th, we will take a look at 1935's Mutiny on the Bounty.
Oh, okay.
A little bit less recent.
A little bit, yeah. We're going the newest movie we could find, and we're going to throw it back to 1935. Okay. Yeah, like 91 years. It's freaking crazy. That was 90 years ago. This movie's almost 100 years old. Oh my gosh. So that one should be fun. Have you guys seen Mutiny on the Bounty before?
No.
Mm-hmm. No, I haven't either. So it'll be a first watch for all of us. That should be a lot of fun. All right. Well, I hope you enjoyed SpongeBob and us talking about some crazy nonsense. So thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to hit that subscribe button. We hope you enjoyed the SpongeBob movie, Search for SquarePants, and we can't wait for you to join us on our next adventure.